Flashcard. Okay, everybody wave. Okay. As Hippocrates once famously quoted, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." However, today the emphasis not only tends to be on the quality of the food we eat, but also on when we eat it. So today I'll be talking about intermittent fasting. Today in society, a lot of people tend to jump on the bandwagon and follow these fad diets that they see on Facebook or just on the internet, and intermittent fasting seems to be one of those really popular, trendy diets. So before you guys jump on the bandwagon and just join some trendy diet that you see on Facebook, I want you guys to be informed and make an educated decision before you make such a big decision to change the way that you're eating. So I'm going to be talking about what it is, its advantages that you can gain from it, and also its limitations, reasons why you might not want to do it. So what is it? So intermittent fasting is a way that people can manipulate when they're eating so that there's a 16-hour fasting window in the 24-hour day and an 8-hour eating window. So the idea is that after that 8-hour eating window, your body processes food for about 8 to 12 hours, during which it's absorbing nutrients. From the 12th to the 16th hour, the idea is that your body must use its fat stores for energy instead of the nutrients that it's run out of. So a lot of people tend to stop eating by 8 p.m. and then start eating the next day at 12 p.m., so noon. This is pretty advantageous, or I don't want to say advantageous, but an easy way to do it for a lot of people because they're sleeping for a large part of that fasting window, so they don't, if you wake up at like 8 p.m., 8 a.m., then you're only fasting for 4 hours the next day. So why would people do it? So there are a lot of advantages. In the research, a lot of people say that it boosts metabolism, that it's good for weight loss. A lot of bodybuilders use it as a mechanism to burn fat while also building muscle. People have said that it's helped them reduce blood pressure, cholesterol. Let's see. So the Paul Quinn group actually says it could be used to improve metabolic health by restoring insulin sensitivity, lowering glucose, and reducing belly fat. Like I said, it's really big for people who are trying to lose weight. Let's see. Cholesterol, leptin levels, hormones, all that good stuff. However, there are many limitations. So limitations, does it work with your lifestyle? So for me, I know for a fact it would not work for my lifestyle. I wake up really early. I wake up at like 6 in the morning. I don't want to be hungry for 4 or 5 hours in my morning every day. I'm not productive when I'm hungry. I work out in the morning, and then I don't want to have to wait 4 hours until after I work out to start eating again. That's almost fact that you shouldn't wait a super long time after you work out to start eating. Hunger, like I said, a lot of people are not productive when you're hungry, so I don't think it's good for people who have a lot of productive things to do in the morning when they're going to be hungry and fasted. Psychologically, there are some claims that it might not be the best, especially people who might already have eating issues, because if you tell yourself, oh, I can't eat until exactly 12 o'clock p.m. and you're hungry at 11:50, that's not so good psychologically, because if you're already like kind of crazy about eating, then that's just not super healthy to be obsessed with timing. Also, our advantages due to eating pattern or weight loss. So a peer-reviewed article from the very famous journal Cell says intermittent fasting improves cardiometabolic health. However, it is unknown whether the effects are due solely to weight loss. So like I said, intermittent fasting is very, very big for weight loss, and the research doesn't fully conclude that its advantages are due solely to the timing of eating rather than the actual weight loss. So when you lose weight, people tend to lower their blood pressure, people tend to lower their cholesterol just because, they have less fat blocking their arteries and stuff like that. So it's unclear why the advantages are happening. Is it because of the timing, or is it because of the actual weight loss? Also, NMCD, which is nutrition, metabolism, and cardiovascular diseases, says that intermittent fasting and continuous energy restriction resulted in similar weight loss maintenance and improvements in cardiovascular risk factor after 1 year, but hunger increased in intermittent fasting. So the same advantages seem to come up in both intermittent fasting groups and just continuous energy restriction groups. In studies that have those two groups, the intermittent fasting group and then a group that just continuously eats and then restricts energy when they're not eating. So So the research is not totally conclusive, so I would say that's definitely a big limitation. So in conclusion, I told you about what intermittent fasting is, and its advantages, and also its limitations. So intermittent fasting, fact or foe, the world may never know, but before you jump on the bandwagon and just do what the rest of society does, I hope that you are now able to make a more informed, educated decision before you change the way you're eating.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. Are there any other things that fasting?
Yeah, so some people, intermittent fasting is most popular in that 16 to 8 ratio, like I told you, the 16 hours fasting and then the 8-hour eating window. Some people will fast for an entire 24 hours and the next day eat whenever they want, so that's like the 1 day to 1 day ratio. Some people will restrict themselves a bunch during one day, like only eat like 400 to 500 calories one day, and then the next day like overload and carb up. So that's another way that people kind of fast. So there are definitely different mechanisms, but the one that I talked about is definitely the most popular.
Are there other diets that have kind of similar results to this?
Yeah, so in my reading, I found that the ketogenic diet also has very similar advantages that have been found in the research. So the ketogenic diet is a high-fat, moderate protein, and low-carb diet that generates ketosis in the body, and that also shows to have very similar advantages. So some people say, why starve yourself for 16 hours when you can just eat whenever you want in the ketogenic diet and gain the same advantages? So that's another big topic of research. Anyone else? Yeah?
Do you personally support this kind of dieting?
So I do think there needs to be more research out there, but I read so many testimonies of people who really, really say that intermittent fasting helps them, their energy levels, and weight loss and all that stuff. For me, I know that it wouldn't work, but I don't know that if I had a different lifestyle, I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
I have a question because I've actually tried this before.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that it's a way to reduce the amount of calories that you're eating in a day.
Right.
I wasn't sure if you had any information on that, if you've heard of it.
Yeah, so another thing that I thought about when I was researching this topic is that at the end of the day, if you're consuming less calories than you're burning, you're going to lose weight. So if you're only eating in that 8-hour window, it's very likely that you're just eating fewer calories than your body needs to maintain its weight. So that's another thing I think needs to be researched, is that during that 8-hour window, the people being studied need to be eating at least the amount of calories that they need to maintain, if not more, to be able to see if these patients, people being studied, are actually losing weight because of the timing and not just the calorie consumption. Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of problems with diet is that people can't stick to it for a long period of time. Do you think that this diet is like easier to stick to, it'd be more like a lifestyle thing for like a long period of time, or do you think that people just get really hungry and want to eat instead?
Yeah, see, that's another problem I see with it, is I wouldn't last that long because I don't like being hungry. So if you're like that, if you don't like being hungry, then why would you want to be hungry for, so many hours a day? Especially if you're not seeing like super dramatic results. I think that's another hard part for people, is people don't see super dramatic results and then they fall off whatever diet they're trying. So I do think that's an issue, definitely. Anyone else?